3, 2, 1. This is the Garrforce.
Get ready to have a good time. All right, here we go. This is exciting, isn't it?
All right, we're on. Hello, testing. Wait, there's more.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's Gary Meyer.
Hey, Garrforce. It's the February 25th, 2022 edition of the Gary Myers Show Cocktail Hour Live.
Cocktails, woo, drinks.
My reporting duties for MousePlanet.com took me to a galaxy far, far away this week. That's right, I got a look at Disney's brand new Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser.
Alan went to this new attraction in Disney World, and we're going to roll vid and talk about what he saw. And this thing, if you're a Star Wars fan, this is, and I hate to use a drug reference, but it's like getting heroin, because this is it. This is the
if you're a Star Wars fan and you want to live in the Star Wars world for 2 days and 2 nights and live and breathe Star Wars and interact with characters and make that all part of your story, this is for you. I got a 4-hour sampler of the 2-day experience, which is interesting in and of itself, just cramming it all into 4 hours. But yeah, we'll run the vid and talk about it at the same time because there's no audio on this vid. But if people want to hear my entire narrative, they can catch it on Mouse Planet on Instagram and Facebook. I've posted the same video with a long narrative that goes with it.
So the concept is it's a 2-day, 2-night stay, and it's a completely immersive situation where it just goes for the 2 days. I mean,
right, in this concrete hallway that you see on the screen, you leave Earth in this pod, and the pod obviously is a big elevator. And while you're in the pod, you're transported up to the Halcyon, which is the name of the ship, which is in orbit somewhere far, far away in the Star Wars galaxy. And you enter the atrium of this Star Cruiser like any cruise ship you've been on. The nameplate's on the floor. The cast is all there to greet you. And when I say the cast, it's not just the Disney employees, but you'll see in various scenes as we run the vid, there's an alien there in the middle who turned out to be a musician. The captain is an alien who I got a chance to talk to. All of these people play with you the entire 2 days and 2 nights.
So you have C-3PO bringing you room service.
Well, there is a droid, and the droid I've seen in some videos serves drinks. He didn't serve drinks during our 4 hours. But, here's one of you can always recognize somebody who's in the story by their earphone and microphone, because that sort of gives away that they're not just other guests like you are. And of course, they have merchandise, which is what this is.
You got to have the gift shop. Yep. Very nice. Okay. And
I mean, in typical, there's the droid. In typical Disney backstory fashion, everything has lengthy backstory. The ship is hundreds of years old. The cruise line is famous. It ties in with all the characters from all the movies. And then characters from the more recent movies show up and things happen. It's got a bar where you can play, I think it's called Sebek or Sedek. But there's the captain and the cruise director. And it's very much like a cruise.
When you enter the building, you don't see outside until you leave 2 days later, right?
Well, if you get the full experience, and there's the First Order when they came aboard to keep an eye and look for spies. When you board the ship, you do have an excursion to land. You go visit Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Batuu, which is back over in Hollywood Studios, which is actually very close to the physical building where this is located. We didn't get that as part of our 4-hour excursion, but they do go for that. And I understand that there's a climate simulator, which I understand actually is just a little space outdoors, but I didn't see the climate simulator. I did get to do the the lightsaber training.
Okay.
I'm not seeing any children.
Well, this was a media event, so there were just a hand. Somebody had an infant, which was interesting. But here's the cabin itself, and you see it's about the size of a cruise cabin.
Leslie, somebody had Baby Yoda. You didn't see that.
Oh, that would be so cute.
So wait, there's the room. Okay,
that's the room, and there's a view of space, and that's the interactive droid that you can talk to and will answer questions and tell you about elements of the story you may have missed while you've been in the cabin or while you were off doing lightsaber training. And like I said, the stormtroopers menace. Here they arrested Chewbacca. Somebody later helped him break out. Here's where the probe droid probes us, and I know you'd be into the
Yeah.
probe droid, Garry.
Yeah,
And this
that's why I
and
go.
this was, I mean, parts of it are like a giant video game, and she's the diva. Her name is Gaia. She's got a band. She performs at dinner. She's very much from the Star Wars universe. And of course, there's a big epic battle at the end between Rey and Kylo Ren with lightsabers and some pretty neat special effects. I didn't include the one spoiler effect because it was really a nice surprise. But you can find it out there. Lots of people posted it, and I video recorded it as well, and maybe I'll eventually post it. But those are some of the highlight scenes of it.
You told me this was in the planning for 7 years. And
Yeah, they announced it in 2017, and it was in the works for 2 years before that. And it was in the works from the time they started considering building the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge land at both Disney's Hollywood Studios and at Disneyland. But only Florida gets this Starcruiser experience.
Yeah, they're not doing it in Disneyland at all.
No, I mean, and we'll talk, and the question I've been answering online is it worth the $4,800 starting point for a couple for the 2 days and 2 nights? And, the answer is this is a one-of-a-kind experience that if you want to be in the Star Wars universe, it could be worth it. I mean, people pay tens of thousands of dollars a night to stay in Four Seasons hotels and take other vacations. And I answered on the video very honestly for myself. I don't enjoy lengthy role play. I don't enjoy cruises as a vacation in and of itself, right? I like to go explore. I go to Hawaii and go see the entire island. I don't just go see one beach or a chair or the pool. And there is no pool at the Starcruiser. So it becomes a question of, where's your budget, and do you want to live in the Star Wars universe? And this is unlike anything anybody's ever created before.
Is there a chance I run into the Mandalorian in the bar and we have a moment, and then he says, for you, I'd take my helmet off, that kind of thing?
I don't know that the Mandalorian would be on it because he's actually a different time period. I mean, that's where Star Wars purists, people keep saying, is it authentically Star Wars? And I wrote when I wrote the script for the narration, I'm like, Star Wars fans debate whether any of the different Star Wars stuff is pure, right? There were those fans of the original trilogy. There are fans of the revised original trilogy when Lucas did his special edition.
And all that,
there's and there's the prequels and the Disney films. And so there's all these different parts of the universe. This story takes place between Disney's last 2 major Star Wars movies. It takes place between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. Those are episodes 8 and 9. Which is the same time period that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge takes place. So like you saw Kylo Ren and Rey battling it out. Those are the central characters of this time period. The Mandalorian is right after the time period of Return of the Jedi, which is a couple of decades earlier.
Okay.
Chewbacca's really old. That's all I mean, I don't know this.
Yeah.
I don't know this at the depth of some people, but I know enough to be dangerous.
I have a pitch, and it's in Florida. It's going to be in Miami. And I'm going to use some of John Livesey's tools when I do the pitch. It's a Scarface immersion, and I replicate Tony Montana's mansion, and we have gun battles and big piles of what looks like coke, and you get to go through the experience. Look at her.
The helicopter ride.
The helicopter ride where a guy gets thrown out and hung.
Well, look, if Disney's successful at this, and it's too soon to tell, right? This is a brand new thing. The computer technology is cutting edge. That droid is actually just being tested. We were told that not every cruise will have that in-the-room droid operational. It's very advanced artificial intelligence. But if Disney is successful in this, you're going to see a lot of imitators, and at all sorts of price points. I mean, the competitor just down the road here, Universal Studios, has rights to Harry Potter. And you know how many kids want to live in Hogwarts and that world, right? And I mean, Gary's idea probably isn't far off. Vegas already had things like the CSI experience. Can you imagine the directions Vegas could go with adult-themed immersive entertainment? And I mean, here for the Garrforce, we could have the Gary Meyer Cocktail Hour Live immersive experience.
We're doing it right now.
Yeah, maybe fund some better equipment for the show,
So, Alan, you couldn't role play for 2 solid days.
People like to say they'll play the violin for those of us in the media who go through these things, but compressing 2 days worth of activities into 4 hours is pretty strenuous. But even putting that aside, and we didn't go into full role-playing mode, we actually had a host or a hostess who came with us throughout the day who said, okay, now imagine this much time has jumped and we're here. And then the next scene would start.
And Alan, I'm exhausted. What was that drink you were holding up?
That one was non-alcoholic. It was some sort of blue space concoction. I did have one alcoholic beverage towards the end, but I missed the description of it because in the middle of actually starting to sip it, the red alert, whatever the equivalent in the Star Wars universe is, went off, and we were ordered to the atrium by the First Order, who had taken over the ship. And it was in time to see the epic battle and then get kicked off the ship. So I never did find out exactly. I think somebody said Tito vodka. That was involved in the mix. But
Garry, does this remind you of those days when you used to go up to the Renaissance Fair and
would ye like a turkey leg?
Would ye and thee everybody for?
Would ye like some lemonade?
That's it. I mean, I've never done a Renaissance fair. I don't think I could.
Oh,
I don't.
God, you're missing something. Hey, listen, if Putin went to this, he might have gotten his rocks off with this and not killed people. And taken over.
I mean, we've got a precedent to follow. If you want to be historical about Russia and Disney, Disney did not let Khrushchev visit Disneyland when he came to the States to speak at the UN, and it apparently really pissed him off. So maybe something like that is underlying all the tensions these days. Maybe Putin wanted to go visit Disney, and Disney said no. I don't know.
Well, this is actually, I mean, I know I'm talking after 2/3 of a Manhattan, but if these guys that need to get their rocks off doing what they do, how about something like this, some kind of virtual?
Well, escapist entertainment is wonderful for that. I mean, Disney's always had that sort of bubble around it where back in the 70s and 80s, you really didn't know what was going on in the real world. Now, everybody's carrying around one of these. So even in the parks, the real world intrudes. And on the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, you need to use one of these if you're playing in roles. And so you're going to have an opportunity to have the real world interfere. We weren't using these except for photos and video and whatnot. And so it was 4 hours where I was fortunately not aware of what was going on. And it was a nice little escape.
Exactly. All right. Thank you, Alan.
If you like that, I got other stuff I think you're going to like. This is the GarrForce